It's great to be here. You know, on the podcast, I am Salt Lake. It's great. It's kind of strange, but I'm very glad to be here.
I want to personally welcome you to episode 33 of the I Am Salt Lake podcast. I'm your host, Chris Hollifield. I am your guide from episode to episode as I lead you on that journey through our beautiful city, introducing you to individuals, professionals, musicians, just everyday people that's making Salt Lake City just a little bit better to live in. So seriously, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for your voicemails, your emails, your feedback. That's what keeps me going, and I appreciate it. Anyways, we are online at iamsaltlake.com. You can find each and every episode of the podcast right there online. You can listen to it online. You can download them and put them on your MP3 player. You can also subscribe via iTunes as well as Stitcher Radio. A lot of people I am finding out are not a fan of iTunes, so Stitcher Radio is a great option. Download that app. You can put it on your Android phone or iPhone. Download that. Search for I Am Salt Lake. Add us as a favorite and we'll pop up every time we have a new episode. We've been doing really good with getting a new episode up every Sunday and Wednesday right now. Hopefully that doesn't change. Let me know if that might be a little overwhelming. Right now I feel like it's a good amount because it keeps you up to date on what's going on, and I have a lot of really cool interviews lined up that I want to share with you. Just so much content that I want to get out. We are on Facebook and Twitter. All that information is at our contact me button at iamsaltlake.com. So hit us up. Our voicemail 385-202-5926. Give us a call. Tell us what you think of the feedback. Tell us what you think of Salt Lake City. Share a story. Share something. Anyways, this episode, I had an opportunity. This is the first podcast that I've been able to bring on to my podcast, the Landan Show. Found out about him just actually probably, I don't know, a few weeks ago. Found out about him via Facebook. Not really sure how I stumbled upon it. Anyways, found out they're from Salt Lake City, and I quite enjoy their podcast. I wanted to get Landon and Dan onto the show and find out what they're about. Find out about what got them into podcasting. Just find out their story. I mean, seriously, it is awesome to find out about more and more podcasts in our Salt Lake City area. I mean, podcasts are blowing up. And if you're doing a Salt Lake City podcast, or if you're in Provo or Ogden, somewhere in the general area, I want to find out about you, and I want to bring you on and have you share your story, because I think, I mean, as you could tell with what I'm doing here, the medium of podcasting, I think is seriously, it's wonderful. And I want to find out your story. Anyways, follow me on Twitter and Facebook. Like I said, I got some really great things coming up that I want to keep you up to date on. I'm going to be on some different radio shows as well as podcasts and different interviews lined up, and I want to let you know about those. So I Am Salt Lake on Twitter, and I Am Salt Lake on Facebook. Add me as a friend, and I'll keep you in the loop. Anyways, so like I said, this episode 33, I sat down with the Landan Show. They came into the Sorry Clementine shop there after hours. We sat down, we had a conversation, heard some really cool voices from Landon, and just a really good time. So check them out, Landan Show. I'm going to put all the links on episode 33 at I Am Salt Lake. So iamsaltlake.com/episode 33. Thanks a lot, guys, for coming on to the podcast. I'm going to jump right into that conversation that I had with Landon and Dan over at the Sorry Clementine shop after hours. Let's start in the beginning. I mean, I don't know. This is the first time I've had a podcast on my podcast.
Sure.
Okay. So introduce yourself. I mean, how long have you guys, how did you guys get introduced to podcasting, first of all?
Are you recording?
Yeah, I'm recording. Let's go.
Let's go.
I got Landon and Dan.
So it had been a sort of idea for a while. Dan had been thinking about it. I host, although I think I'm going to be done now. I like podcasting more, but I host a radio show.
Okay.
And Dan came up to me a couple times, but one time especially, and said, do you want to start a podcast? He'd asked me that before.
Yeah.
And then later said, hey, really, do you want to do a podcast? Because if so, I'm going to get the stuff.
I'm going to go get it right
today.
now.
Sure enough, he did, and we started.
Yeah.
And how long ago was that? Like, I mean, give me an idea.
October.
I mean, because I was going to say, you guys are fairly new. I mean, probably like myself. I mean, so October. And did you do any other podcasts besides your radio that you've done? I mean, have you done any
I've
kind
never
of
done anything, but I've done a lot of recording stuff. I'm a musician. I play a bunch of different instruments. So
Really? Well, we might have to touch on that.
We'll get back to that.
We'll touch all over it.
We'll
Cheers,
touch.
Sandusky.
Yeah.
Sandusky.
No, you're fine. So, you guys have been friends for a while. I mean, how did you guys meet?
We met at Cocaine Anonymous. And I was the administrator for a while. I sponsored Dan.
Yep.
And no, I'm just kidding. No, we were school friends and
In junior high.
in junior high.
Yeah.
And then for a while I hadn't seen him. We fell out of touch, and then came back into touch.
And to touch each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes.
Yeah. Usually we wait till the mics are off. But no, Dan's a stud.
Yeah.
So
We always had a lot of hijinks, and I think we continue to do that.
So you guys get along fairly well, and I mean, I could tell that on the mic when I listened to your show. I mean, I think you guys got a great chemistry going, and that's kind of why it's like, to find a co-host, somebody to do a show with you, to have that, it doesn't happen that often that you could tell that you guys work well together. How would you describe your show? I mean, for somebody who's listening in that probably hasn't heard your show, how would you describe it?
I think it is fair to say that it's a comedy variety show. Sometimes I'll break into different voices,
So you're the one that does the voices.
I do the voices.
And we'll have to you do a great job doing that.
Oh, thank you. Well, we've only had a little taste of, voices that I can do on our podcast so far.
And Christopher Walken is
Christopher
one.
Walken is
Christopher
one of them.
Walken's one of them.
Do that really quick. Just say this.
Well, it's great to be here. On the podcast, I am Salt Lake. It's great. It's kind of strange, but I'm very glad to be here.
Oh, that's that's the only reason I invited you on is because I wanted to hear you say that to me. I wanted to hear you say that so bad. I love Christopher Walken. Probably a little
He's
too
good.
So
Your love is probably the same for Christopher Walken as his is for Harrison Ford.
and you do a Harrison Ford too, right? Don't you?
Get off my plane. That's all I do.
Oh, that's
all
great.
he knows.
That's great.
That's all he needs to ever
That's
say.
great.
That's all you need for Harrison Ford.
How many episodes have you guys even done so far?
What are we at? 10, 11?
10 or 11. So, I mean, you've hit that, they say, if you hit the 7, 8, 9, 10 mark, you're going to keep going. I mean, there's a lot of people that podcast and then they fade away.
We better keep going.
Oh, we're gonna keep going. It's like curing an addiction. They say the first week, if you get over the first 3 days and then a week, and then it's gonna be a better road to recovery.
Yeah.
Well, analogously, I can't remember.
Whatever you want it to be. Whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, no, we're getting more and more comfortable, and it's going better. I think the first few, as any new show will be, sometimes was a little shaky and
just trying to figure
working
things
out
out.
the kinks. But
What was it like the first show compared to what it is now? I mean, what has been the most challenging thing that you've...
the first show, I think maybe the flow.
Yeah.
We weren't exactly sure exactly how to format the show.
Yeah.
We also do our shows not live, like broadcasting live, but we record straight to there. We don't cut anything out. We don't.
So you don't edit it. You don't.
No, we have a soundboard. Even like if we're playing music, we're playing music. Like we don't cut anything out. So
We have an idea, and
do you guys write a script then or anything,
No.
or you just say, hey, do you have a topic? I mean, anything. I mean,
we have a whiteboard with like 4 or 5 things written on it that we're going to talk about for the day, and that's about it.
Okay.
We use the bullet system. Bullet points.
And you guys have brought guests on, quite a handful of guests. I mean, not every episode has a guest, though, right?
No, not every episode.
We've had
But
4.
occasionally we like to bring on guests, but not every.
And is there any
not every
rhyme or
time.
reason to who you bring on? Any specific person, or you just kind of say if somebody's interested in coming on, or if
A little of both. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes it's like an emerging business or business idea, like we had last time. This guy who started a do-your-own tattoo
yeah, no, that was great. Yeah.
idea and website, and Just stuff we think is cool and rocks.
What's been the funnest thing with doing a podcast? I mean,
what has been the funnest? What would you say, Dan?
I actually like the responses we get from our people. Like how that one lady that was in Hawaii that was having a bad day because she lost she lost her wallet or something on her trip. And she sat down at the airport and was listening to our podcast. Remember that?
Yeah.
She was listening to our podcast and we made her day so much better.
So wait, a lady at the airport
lost her wallet in Hawaii.
Okay.
At the airport, and then so she was having a bad day, so she sits down and listens to our podcast, and then sent us a message saying thanks for making my day better.
Brightened her day.
And how did she find you? She just found your podcast just randomly.
I think through Facebook or.
Oh, okay,
did you know her or no?
I did, yeah.
Oh,
okay. I hadn't seen her for a while. I think she saw it on Facebook, and there was another lady who, that lady from Michigan, who miscarried, and then she said she listened to our show and she forgot all about it. And really liked it.
What's it been like? I mean, I noticed, you mentioned like Hello Sweetie podcast and stuff. Has many people from Utah reached out at all? Or what's been the local response?
It's been a very receptive.
Yeah, I don't even know how you guys find us. Or
I think I found you. One of my friends liked your page on Facebook. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. Another podcast in Salt Lake City, which, I only know probably like 2 or 3 active ones.
2 or 3, but the other one is the Hello Sweetie, yours, and then ours, and then some LDS one like talking about religion.
The Culture Hall.
There's a couple of different LDS ones that are here. Mormon Stories is one.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really good. I mean, if you ever heard Let's Go Eat Show, there's a Let's Go Eat Show, Geek Show. There's a bunch of awesome podcasts.
Yeah, I dig it. Good. I think it's awesome.
What do you think of podcasting? I mean, do you think it's kind of the new medium?
I think it's the future of radio.
Future of the radio.
I think it's the now of radio. Even now, radio listenership is down exponentially from years before. The only reason that some of the radio stations can retain some of the numbers that they have is that they offer podcasting or on-demand listening. So they're not getting their numbers from live listeners. It's mostly from on-demand listening. I always wanted to do a radio show, and that's why I started mine. And but it's just the way of the world. It's going into podcasting. People are listening at their convenience rather than what time a show airs now.
Do you remember the first podcast that you guys listened to? I mean, what?
The first one? Okay, so my phone is full of podcasts. I don't have hardly any music
you got like
at
4
all.
or 5 songs.
It sounds like my phone.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what are some podcasts you listen to? What are some podcasts?
The Joe Rogan Experience was one of the first ones I listened to.
Okay.
More Stories.
More Stories with Jay Moore, who also does a good Christopher Walken. Better than Kevin Pollak, I dare say.
Probably better than Christopher Walken.
Possibly.
Yeah.
He does a Christopher Walken better than himself.
Yeah.
Well,
better than Christopher Walken does himself.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Beauty and the Beast was one of my early favorites, and
not familiar with that one. No.
It's 2 comedians, one Joey Diaz, and another female comedian. What's her name? I can't remember her name right now. I'll think of it. But anyway, really funny. Joey tells these stories of just craziness. He grew up in New Jersey. He's this big Cuban guy. Hilarious. He tours with Joe Rogan and lives out in L.A. Hopefully he'll be coming here to Salt Lake soon.
Getting on our show, huh?
Yep. He's hopefully we'll be in touch in 2 weeks. His wife is having a baby tomorrow, actually.
So if you could bring on any person on your podcast as a guest, who would be your... I mean, I'm sure each one of you would have your own ideal person, like past or present. Say they even died 100 years ago. I mean, who would be your ideal guest?
I would like to bring Helen Keller on. What about you, Dan?
I mean, why Helen Keller? I gotta know Helen. I mean,
I just want to talk to her and see what life was like for her.
Okay.
What's that guy's name?
I want to take her to an ATM machine too and see if it really works.
The Braille?
Yeah.
Oh god. Probably that one guy that plays in Tommy Boy.
David Spade?
The other one.
Chris Farley?
Chris Farley.
That would be your person awesome. That you would love to interview?
Yeah, I think he'd be funny. Funny guy to talk to.
What would be a few tips that you would recommend for somebody that they say that wanted to get into podcasting, say that they're listening, that you would recommend?
Do it.
Just get out and do it.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? It's so much. See, the awesome thing about podcasts is you don't need a studio or nearly as much maintenance as you would a radio station,
which I'm proving here with recording here.
Sure, but also the convenient or another good thing is you're not under the regulation of the FCC. I haven't heard much swearing on your podcast, but there's not that worry that in other radio shows. That sometimes I do and did talk about politically incorrect stuff on my radio show because it's a comedy variety show anyway. But there are still some things that are sort of taboo for regular daytime radio.
Yeah.
With a podcast, that removes that filter, and you can just sort of joke around without having to worry about if someone was offended. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I got what you mean, and kind of even about the swearing part. It's not so much that I'm against it, and there has definitely been swearing on my podcast. I guess I'm just one. Hey, you know what? If a person wants to, and the way I look at it is, since I talk to so many different businesses and stuff like that, it's kind of like they're not going to be the one who's dropping.
Yeah, they're not. You
know what
company.
I mean? So it's kind of like, hey, you know what? If it is, it is. If it isn't, it isn't.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't believe in censorship. So it's like, if I need to say, hey, you know what? This episode has swearing. And so I agree 100% with you with the FCC regulations, and I think that's great. I personally think podcasting is kind of in its infancy. Personally, I think there's a lot of people that are still discovering them. I heard a statistic a couple weeks ago that 29% podcast listening is up 29% this last year compared to previous years, and more people are finding out about them. And personally, the way I look at it is the more podcasts, especially in Salt Lake City, that we can create, say somebody finds your podcast, then they go, oh, what is this cool thing I discovered? And then they want to find out all the other ones. So it helps everybody out, really. And honestly, at the end of the day, everybody has a different format. Everybody has a different style. That's why I really like what you guys offer. And I think you guys make a great team. Let's find out. Let's find out a little bit about. Both you guys grew up here in Salt Lake, or what's your guys' story a little bit?
You start soft, Dan.
Dan, you start.
Yeah, I grew up here, Salt Lake. Went to Cottonwood High School, and been here pretty much my whole life except for 9 months. I moved to California.
And what part of California?
In Ontario. It's like where the desert people are.
Ontario,
California. It's just south of Pasadena, but it's like a pretty ghetto part of California.
And then you came back to Utah just because you were like, screw California?
I got a bad taste of California just because of where I moved to.
Okay.
But it was...
See, I grew up in Southern California. So,
yeah.
Well, I guess Pasadena's kind of southern, so...
Yeah.
Ventura, so...
Yeah. It just wasn't a good place for me, so I ended up coming back and going to school and started my own business, and that's where we're at now.
And what about you?
Also born and raised here in Salt Lake, and I went up to Utah State College and finished here at the U. I also do stand-up comedy, which I love.
You do that at Wise Guys?
Yeah, but it's been a while. I've been the host for this group called Raw Natural Born Artists, and it's what's the word? Cavalcade? That may be a bit loose, but it's a multifaceted genre, if you will, or collection of different artists like visual artists, fashion designers, models, musicians, things like that. And
is that something you volunteer for, or is that your job then?
It's a job.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. It's really cool too. It's really cool to see it all come together. The catwalk, there's independent movies that are made.
I'm sure you could bring some of those people on your podcast then.
Sure. Yeah, and I've been able to bring a lot of them onto my radio show, and that's been really cool. There's a lot of cool and interesting people. I've had musicians, filmmakers, fashion designers. It's been pretty cool.
If you guys could have any superpower that you wanted, what would be your superpower? Dan, there's a curveball for you, right?
Yeah.
I swear we talked about this. Maybe it wasn't on our podcast, but I would like to see through walls. Not like people always take that X-ray vision like sexually, but it's nothing sexual. Like I can't see through fabric. I just want to see through wood and drywall, and see what's on the other side of walls. I think that would be cool.
That would be just for fun, just to be like, fun. Hey, what does that guy look like over there? Yeah. But it would stop at his clothing. You wouldn't be able to see through his clothing.
It's purely just for coolness of seeing through walls. Like I hear noises over there behind you and
be able to see what it was.
Like to know what's going on. Yeah. Nobody could sneak up on you.
That'd be cool. Right? Yeah.
Be cool.
I want the ability to never have to do math again.
You have to do a lot of math now?
No. But
so I've had to do
too much. I've had to do too much.
He doesn't even like to tell time.
Oh, no.
So I don't mind that. You're one of those like
Helen Keller watch.
A digital.
And if I was able to bring
what's a Helen Keller watch?
It tells you. It is what the
105.
So I take it you didn't do very well in math in school.
I had to take math class more than once, more than twice. All right, more than 3 times. And no,
is this like beginning math, or
pretty much
more like calculus math?
Was
it's an addition subtraction thing.
Yeah, pretty much. Was statistics and introduction to, I don't know, whatever Math 1010 is.
I got you. No, that's cool.
Isn't that the lowest level of math?
No, but pretty close. Or the ability to control metal like Magneto in X-Men. That would be cool.
Okay. Now I don't even know where my train of thought was. I mean, okay, let's see here. What are some other hobbies besides what you guys mentioned? You got your own business, you do raw podcasting, scuba diving. I mean, what do you guys do? I mean, hang out together a lot. I mean,
we don't see much of each other. He's got a girlfriend that won't let him out of the house except for work and for podcasting. So
why don't you bring your girlfriend on the podcast?
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
She's not really like that.
She's not really
like cool.
That. I just wanted to.
In fact, for my birthday last year, she threw and organized a roast. That was really cool.
That was really cool.
That was very cool. She got a bunch of other comedians and rented a big room.
So you're pretty up with the comedian scene then, huh? You're pretty.
Yeah, I love comedy. In fact, hey, are you coming with me, by the way, Dan, to Andy Gold's show?
Yeah, throw it out there.
Okay. When's Andy Gold's show?
That is.
I listened to that, but I forgot the date.
It's January 6th.
Sunday.
It's Sunday.
This might go up on Sunday. I'm not sure if this is going up on Sunday or...
Well, if you missed it, then you missed it.
Right before Sacrament, if you can go to Wise Guy... No, it'll be over by then. Sacrament will be over.
Yeah.
That's January 6th.
Who do you think the best up-and-coming local comedian? I mean, Andy Gold. I mean, but he's moving to New York.
He's going to New York.
So besides Andy Gold, who do you think the next up-and-coming local comedian is?
That's a good question, because at any time there are probably 100 local Utah comics, and they're not always at Wise Guys. There are lots of other places that they are.
Is there other comedy places besides Wise
Guys? Coffee houses.
They've started. They're starting to build a bigger comedy audience in alternative spots like the Complex, for example.
Oh yeah.
There's another big comedy place right now. One comedian was named City Weekly's top comedian, I believe, and he does a lot of stuff at the Complex. His name's Levi. But there's other places too. One actually got shut down, but the Complex and a bunch of other places in Utah. It's not just Wise Guys, although they have a lot of
the only
cool
reason
stuff.
I say that, I've heard that from a few people, that there needs to be more outlets for stand up or open mic or something like that.
Yeah, well, I think that's building now. I know Johnny's on Second has a comedy night. Moe's Bar and Grill has a comedy night as well. They offer a contest. I don't remember if it's every week or every month, but a lot more places are starting to do that. I know for a while, a bar named Sue had asked me to do some stuff. I was never able to because I was trying to do that stupid math class at the time. And now it's sort of changed management, and I don't know what the status is now. But there are a lot of more comedy outlets.
So if it was your choice to do podcasting or stand-up comedy, what would you do?
I don't want to pick just one, but I love both, but the methods of delivery are so different.
Well, yeah. Because, I guess you could do your stand-up on the podcast.
No, not really, though,
really.
Because... to an extent,
you can
do voices on a podcast, but
I think that's why even podcasting has exploded. You got Mark Maron, you got Joe Rogan, who's that other guy, Jay Moore, that Adam Carolla.
Mm-hmm.
You got all these.
Does he still podcast? Adam Carolla?
He's
he does like
Godfather
five a week
podcasting. He owns a network of podcasters. Penn Jillette is under his sort of umbrella.
So tell me something about yourself, both of you guys. Tell me something about yourself that people listening wouldn't expect. Not that people listening probably even know who you are, but maybe.
I have a black girlfriend, and I used to have seizures. Do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, keep going.
How many do you want me to do?
No, I was just looking for one, but
keep going.
I learned how to say Happy New Year's in Japanese this New Year's. Akemashite dometeto gozaimasu, or shinun, depending on which dialect you want to use. Let's see, what else? I'm starting to learn Russian. My black girlfriend got me a Russian book, Learn Russian.
My black girlfriend.
And that's going to be cool. I really like the sound. I love languages. I love the sounds.
Well, let's let Dan.
Yeah, you do four now. I did four. You do four.
I have no
Just
idea.
one thing about yourself, a guilty pleasure, something that you hide in the closet.
Chopper, son.
I fly helicopters. I'm a helicopter pilot.
Okay, and so that's not this guy beat you over here.
I know, right?
What? No way.
You take his black girlfriend in your helicopter.
Sometimes if she's lucky. Yeah,
helicopter rides.
I really don't have anything too surprising. I'm not really an exciting person. If you can't tell by now, I'm really not the talker of the podcast. I'm more of the technical side of it. So
no, I could dig it.
It's kind of.
No, Dan's being modest. He has lots of cool stuff.
You have lots of hidden secrets and
I don't really
weird fetishes,
technology and gadgets.
I love technology.
Were you one of those people that you waited in line and camped out for the new iPhone?
I have the new iPhone. I didn't wait for it. I got lucky and showed up at the mall at
I think everybody has a new iPhone now.
Yeah, well, I got it like a week after it came out, but I didn't wait in line for it. I've never done that. I do wait in line for Halo.
Really, Halo 4?
Play a lot of Xbox. Yeah.
See, so there you go. There you go. You're a video gamer.
There you go. How long was the line for that? I don't know, like 400.
What about time wise? Like,
and were you like, oh my gosh, this is the Harry Potter line?
6 hours.
6 hours. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Did you feel like a loser?
No, because everybody else there is waiting. So,
and I'm sure it wasn't the Harry Potter line.
My girlfriend showed up and made me feel like a loser.
Oh, so you do have a girlfriend?
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
no,
so that
she should have made you feel cool because how many of the rest of the line was just dudes?
She was the only girl there. Definitely.
That's what I mean. So you should have felt cool.
She came there and told me that I was stupid for waiting in line. So,
all right, fair enough.
Oh man,
what is one food you guys wouldn't eat?
Would not eat?
Well, you never eat it. You're never going to eat it.
Ever?
Human.
Yeah. Human food.
Even if I had to. Human, like not human cannibal, food, like a eat a person. I would never eat a person, even if I was going to die.
Well, that's a tough one because I mean, honestly, I think if the time hit you and I think you were starving and he was laying dead over in the corner. I don't even like
sushi, so to have a human person not cooked.
Okay, you say you don't like sushi.
I hate. Well,
so you wouldn't eat sushi,
but I've eaten it. But he brought some the other day to one of our podcasts actually, and I was eating it.
But where have you tried sushi at?
Costco. Just Costco sushi.
So you got to try like Happy Sumo
or whatever.
Or Flying Sumo up in Park City.
See, I've never tried Flying Sumo.
You should. If you like sushi.
Is that the best sushi that you think is in this area? Where do you think the best sushi is?
I do. Flying Sumo in Park City. But that being said,
Costco sushi is good.
No. I mean, Mikado's good, but Flying Sumo is the best, in my humble opinion.
What is a food you wouldn't eat?
I don't like scallops at all. They taste really weird to me. I don't like the texture. But you mean like a whole food group or one food item?
Like, maybe raisins or mayonnaise or I don't know. I'm just trying to find out about you, man. It doesn't need to be so complicated.
I'm down with raisins.
I'm down with raisins.
What is that?
It doesn't even matter, I guess. I mean, I was just curious.
I don't like sashimi, like raw sushi.
Yeah, I can't stand.
Probably wouldn't do that.
That scares me. I haven't heard of anybody doing it. Yeah, quit hitting the table.
I know, that's my bad. Sorry, guys. That was Dan.
So, anyways, all right. So back to your podcast a little bit. I mean, where do you see? I mean, do you have any like direction or goals? Especially 2013 is here. Where do you see your podcast going?
The sky, son. The sky is the limit.
Like you say, yours. How does your beginning go? Yours
higher than Air Force One.
Higher than Air Force One.
Yeah.
Higher than Air Force One, son, or something, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you want to get into video podcasting at all, or are you going to keep it strictly audio? More guests on?
Well, I want to do.
You got some crazy big sponsorships with Pepsi and Coke. We got
a sponsorship with Patagonia.
That's been cool. But I want to do some video skits, too.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
I think we're going to introduce some of those this year.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And how often do you do your podcast? Just so people listening, do you have like a set date? Or
every Monday, and then some bonus episodes like in between.
And people, you're on iTunes, your website. Yep. Plug your website now, and we can even mention it right before we close.
It's landanshow.com.
So people listening, go to landanshow.com. You can catch all the previous episodes.
Or
anywhere you can plug
iTunes.
Into a computer.
Are you guys on Stitcher Radio?
Stitcher.
Are you guys on Stitcher?
We're on
I don't know. What else?
Adam Feed. Anywhere you plug in, you can find us. iTunes, Stitcher.
I don't know what else there is.
TuneIn. There's all sorts. Once you go to Landan Show or on iTunes, you can see the different ways. There's a little thing that says share this, and like 38 things of different websites or listening tools show up that you can access it from. We got an email from Lithuania, someone saying that they were listening to our show from there. And they just got dial-up in that village, so probably took them a couple weeks to hear the whole thing, but they like it, so we're down, Do
you remember what he said something? Do you remember what he said?
He said, "Esashu vidas."
Oh, yeah.
And that means?
It means you are the man in Lithuanian.
And how do you know so many languages?
I just try to dabble. I try to grab what I can in different languages. I won't pretend that I'm fluent in all of them. Well, I probably will pretend that I am fluent in all of them, but
he does pretend.
I'm not fluent in as many languages as I would like.
Well, it sounds like you guys have a good time. I mean, you guys. I mean, anything else you want to share with the people listening, where they could check you out and get in touch with your show and listen?
Sure. Well, like we said, landanshow.com. Yeah. We've also got a page on Facebook called...
And you're the only one who does voice impersonations, right?
He does, yeah.
And actually, let's talk...
we're going to...
That. Okay, really good.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second, actually, before we completely close.
Yeah.
You got some deals on Fiverr, which I dabbled in Fiverr myself. It's a really cool resource. So let's say,
we've done some cool radio shows.
Let's say I got a buddy. if I want to have Christopher Walken, I can have him call him up and wish him a happy birthday, right? For $5, right?
Yeah.
I mean, do you have something like that on Fiverr?
Not yet, but we're getting to that. We right now we'll record a radio commercial for you. For
no, we've got that up there. We can have
so I can have you record an I Am Salt Lake radio commercial.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll have to hit that up. I'll probably just pay you $5.
Well, you don't have to pay us.
Without $5.
No, you do.
No. So, anyways, sorry, you were saying something, but the voices,
Yeah, no, I think we've got a description on there.
How did you discover you could do these voices? I mean, were you just laying in bed? Were you in the shower? I mean, how did that happen?
We've been doing voices, I think, like way before. I don't know. I met you in junior high, but we were doing voices in junior high, making prank phone calls to people.
Yeah, that was one
before Star
point
69.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
before that.
I would call people and tell them I was a radio, host, and we were hosting a contest. And they were in it, and I would, tell them different things.
Which you did a couple of those on your podcast episodes.
We did one. That started out long time ago. And so sort of just like a generic, hey, coming in and checking in on the drive home here, that kind of like voice. Let's go to Tony with the weather here. Tell us what it's going to be like this weekend, like that sort of thing. And then, I don't know, I don't know exactly where it started.
So my biggest question, though, is why didn't you have a little bit of even fun with your podcast being like, oh, our special guest today is Christopher Walken? And then, you know what I mean? You could have just...
I've done that a lot on my radio show.
Okay.
And so I didn't want to have a clone exactly of the radio show. I didn't want to go and tread over things I've done... because I brought Christopher Walken and other people onto my radio show. Barack Obama.
Let's hear Barack Obama.
Okay, here we go.
Get a drink real quick. Cleanse the palate.
Prove to me that you were born in America, right? Is that what?
Let me be perfectly clear. Now, I have sent my documents onto Congress and the American people, and it should show, without a doubt, I am an American.
I love it. And did you inhale or no?
Yes, I did. That was the point. And I don't think it was a coincidence that when I was reelected, weed became legal in more than 2 states. We've got this club in Denver. Bring your own pot, bring your own party. It's BYOP, bitches.
I love it.
Good evening, bitches. That's what I always want to hear from a presidential speech.
You wanted him to come in there and say
Good evening, bitches.
So I mean, how do you discover? I mean, you just kind of try to mimic. I mean, like a musician just kind of mimics.
Sometimes a voice will be there immediately.
He practices in front of mirrors all the time.
Yeah, and sometimes I'll have to.
But honestly, I mean, people you hear the first time. Okay, say you do a podcast and you listen. You're like, man, do I sound that way? I mean, you hear your voice differently than the next person.
True,
which I think you do a heck of a job.
And I hear
those voices,
others' voices differently. I think too, and that's sort of that sort of is part of the my fascination with languages, is because I hear sort of different things in people's voices, or maybe not, but maybe I just pay more attention to it, or something like that. But I like to do voices for sure.
I mean, you think you get a career with that at all, or what?
I hope so. I don't know how to do math, so yeah, absolutely.
I hope the podcast turns into a career.
Honestly, wouldn't that be nice? I mean, to just be able to do a podcast full time and just produce. What if somebody really honestly came up to you and said, "What is something you don't?" I mean, would you sell out for your podcast, or you got to keep it in your?
I don't know. I like the idea of creative control.
Yeah.
If we weren't able to do, if it was something like we had a mandated show and we couldn't do jokes or, different.
Well, yeah, there's an angle. Somebody had
things
told you,
we
hey,
do.
you know what? You could do a podcast, but you couldn't swear on it.
That doesn't bother me. And by and large, I don't really swear.
More so just
often.
like give us a structure. If they gave us a structure like you can't do comedy or you couldn't bring on certain guests. If they were trying to control the show.
Yeah.
I don't think that would be good for us.
Because, that is one of the
Because I really
funnest
thought we
things
are.
I think about doing this is honestly, it's like, hey, you know what? If I want to bring you on, I can bring you on. If I want to do this, I can do this. If I want to, talk to you, I could talk to you. And there's nobody, telling me. Now, granted, I'm not really, this is all just purely for fun for me. As I'm sure it is for you.
It's just
unless you're getting your boatload millions from Patagonia.
Patagonia pays us well.
They're good. It's we love Patagonia, and I'm wearing a Patagonia coat right now. But no, it's. I don't.
You look good in your Patagonia.
Thank you. Yeah, it's very warm. It's fleece.
What color would you say that is?
I would say it's maroon.
It's looks more of like a brown, but
It's a brownish maroon.
Oh, okay.
Oh man. So, anyways, any other before we wrap this up here? Any other landanshow.com. You guys could download your podcast. You got your email address on there if you want to get in touch. You guys got a
Facebook
page. Are you guys on Twitter? No, you guys aren't on Twitter.
We do have a Twitter.
You guys were making fun of Twitter.
We have
though.
3 followers. Yeah. One of them's me. One of them is Landon, and one of them is some guy.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you something. Okay, I've been doing Twitter for over 5 years. Okay, it's the best social media outlet there is. I think it's far better than Facebook.
Is it because you can hashtag other companies?
No, not by any means. I think because people are more willing to follow you.
True.
Okay, and so yeah,
where you can't have a conversation on Twitter.
Sure, why not? You got direct messages. You can at somebody.
Well, you can just talk. Why see?
But everybody sees it.
Then do direct messages.
Then what's the point of Twitter? Why don't you just email them or call them if you're relying on direct messages?
Well, maybe you don't want to give somebody their email address. I don't know.
It's probably on your Twitter page.
I don't know.
We have a Twitter page.
I just like it.
And I have a Twitter too.
I'm not going to sit here and make you do Twitter if you don't want to do Twitter.
Yeah.
And send
we have one. We just don't know.
And send a little tweet.
About it, honestly.
It never grew on me as much as
maybe you're the third guy that liked it. Did you like our?
You're our third follower.
Are you our third follower?
I don't know if I even follow you.
Oh, okay.
And by third, we meant 487
I am Salt Lake
followers.
is my name on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I think you would have remembered that.
Yeah, we would have.
Plus, it's a picture of my cat.
Yeah.
Oh,
no, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I don't even.
It was
have
a picture of some guy without a shirt on.
Yeah.
Oh, that was me.
Flexing.
That was me.
Do you have a tattoo right there? No.
It's my
below your navel. Below your. Oh. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's the.
I normally don't wear
you did
pants.
that.
I normally don't wear pants when I podcast. So.
Oh,
man.
that's not a tattoo at all.
Oh, Christopher. Oh, no, wait. I'm Christopher. That's my name. You're
Wow. We can both be Chris if you want. It's kind of strange. I don't like to be called Chris. Sometimes I do. Other times I like people to call me Christopher. I don't know what it is. It's very strange.
Oh yeah! All right. Well, thank you very much, guys.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Really.
You guys really are a good time, and probably slowly raising up there in my most look forward to podcast. So keep putting them out. Keep putting them out there. Seriously.
Will do.
It helps my work day. I listen to a lot of podcasts at work, so
good.
It helps my work day flow a little bit better.
That's what I do at work.
Let's high five it.
High five it. Thank you very much for coming on the I Am Salt Lake Podcast, Landan Show, and everybody subscribe, and thank you very much. All right. Thanks a lot, Landon and Dan, for coming on to the I Am Salt Lake Podcast, episode 33. It was really fun having you in and talking with you and finding out your story and getting to know some more podcasters here in the Salt Lake City area. Again, I'm going to put all their notes over at iamsaltlake.com episode 33, their Facebook page, as well as their website, so you could subscribe to their podcast via iTunes and get that into your podcast feed. Again, like I said, if you're a podcaster here in the area, please get in touch with me. I'd love to get you on my show and spotlight you a little bit. Let people find out about you. My email address is iamsaltlake@gmail.com. Voicemail is 385-202-5926. Any feedback is appreciated as well. I do want to give a big thanks to those of you that have been spreading the word about I Am Salt Lake via Twitter and Facebook, Tumblr, all the other social media sites. Thank you very much. That is very much appreciated. Also, you can kick over $1 or $2 at iamsaltlake.com/donate. Your donations are greatly appreciated. So thank you to those that have donated, and it helps keep the podcast going, travel expenses, as well as any new equipment that I might accrue. I got some really great interviews lined up for the month of January, so I would suggest to subscribe to us in iTunes or Stitcher, or bookmark our website, anything. I'm going to be here Sunday and Wednesday. Got some really great interviews lined up. Again, you can find me on Twitter at iamsaltlake, facebook.com/iamsaltlake, and I'll be back on Sunday with a brand new interview showcasing a new individual, somebody who's doing something really cool in the Salt Lake City area. Thank you very much, and I'll talk to you guys later.